guys, this is Alex from Sunset Film Alliance, and today I want to show you the way that I go about editing my scanned film negatives. So I'm going to pick this image right here and I open it up in Photoshop. So basically what I do is I find first that there is an edge here where the scan has cut off for some reason, so I'm just going to hit C for cropping, make sure that there's no aspect ratio up here. Then I just pull down the crop until we get no black alignments. You can hold down the space bar to quickly go to the hand and move around, make sure we're good. And then just hit enter, and I'll make it good. I usually use the H tool to move around. There's a bit of a black zone here, so I'm going to crop again. I'm going to pull this over here, hit enter. Perfect, and now I'm going to click H to go to the hand tool for a while. Next what I do is I zoom out and take a look at the dust. I take the background layer right here, and then I call this one healing, because we'll use this layer to remove the dust. So what I do is Control-Shift-S, and Control-Shift-S will let me go and save it as a Photoshop document, since we're going to be using destructive editing for this technique. So we're going to call this one 1, because the first in the film roll. You can call it A, you can call it 1, you can call it whatever you'd like. I'd prefer numbers, or if you have several rolls, you can call the rolls by letters, and then the shot by number, which is very helpful. And then just make sure you got this all ready, and then hit save. Alright, now that we are saved, we can go ahead into the shot list, right over here, and delete the original shot. Since the original shot is on the bottom layer, you don't have to worry about deleting the original shot. So now let's go and correct all of this dust. Hit the letter J on your keyboard. It'll pop up this little thing called the spot healing tool. You can take things out by tapping, or you can move it around like a paintbrush. So use the bracket keys to make it larger or smaller. So what we're going to do is simply just pat, and there goes dust. And you just keep patting around and finding dust or scrapes. If it does something weird, just use Control-Z to undo. As you see, this shot is pretty free of dust. There's only a little bit. For smaller dust, I recommend going down in size so you do not negatively impact the image too much. If the dust is hard to see, sometimes shifting the image to black and white or having a black and white adjustment layer helps. As you see here, it deleted the tree branch, so I'm going to undo. And I'm going to pat around, see if we can do it without killing the tree branches. I'm going to go even smaller. There we go. That keeps the tree branches, perfect. And now there we go, look, we got this before, after, look at that. So, let's see, what else? Sometimes it's unsure if it's a piece of dust or part of it, and so you want to check with that, see if it looks like it's part of the image. See, this blends in a little bit here, but this is a hair. How do these things get on the scans? You never know. Do I recommend using digital ice? No. Because if you use digital ice, it may negatively impact your image in ways that you cannot get back. I've had digital ice take my image and sometimes give me triangles on the image, which is just not good at all. And speaking of not good at all, this job right here is not working too well. So you can go here to the healing brush tool, hold Alt and click, and then just move around here, and that looks a bit better than it did before, at least. And that looks more natural. And then go back to spot healing tool afterwards, because the healing tool, the regular one, is a bit of a pain in the ass to use. I think I saw another piece. Ah, here. Well, that might be the tree branch. I'm gonna just take a guess and say it's not. Okay, let's take a look around again. Ah, right here, there's a weird part. Click, gone. This is a really weird part. Click, gone. This part, click, gone. You'd want to do this conservatively, because if you find you can't remove dust without damaging a part of the image, then just leave the dust there, because this is film. You're not going to get a perfect shot every time. Is that a tree branch or is it a piece of dust? That looks like a tree branch that's lit weirdly, so we're going to keep that there. Okay, cool. Yeah, there will always be a few mini dust spots in the sky. You can choose whether to go and hunt them all down, or whether to just use it a few times and get rid of the most noticeable ones. There's no dust here. But I go past 100% usually. I always recommend to scan film at 3200 DPI. That way you get a good balance of size and resolution, and the film doesn't start looking blurry from too high of a resolution, or with not enough detail from too low of resolution. So let's take a look at before and after. Before, after. Pretty good, isn't it? So let's save that. I always save when I'm done with a layer. You can save as many times as you want. The more you save, honestly, the better, because if your computer crashes or something happens, then you can always go back to your save point. Worst comes to worst, you can always just get, copy the background layer again. So let's copy the healing layer. And then you go to call this one retouching. Or you can call it camera raw. But what we're going to do is Control-Shift-A. And what that will do is that'll pop up camera raw. Now you can edit it as you wish. You can do minor edits or major edits. I usually just try to pull a bit more dynamic range out of it by doing my classic highlight shadow thing, where I pull up shadows, pull down highlights, pull up whites, pull down blacks. And I just make sure to use these 2 clipping warnings to make sure I do not clip the image. Then I add a bit of contrast to taste, and then add some saturation to taste, like very little on this. Honestly, this one looks good without it. Before, after, very subtle. There's a bit of clipping there, so I'm going to pull the whites down a little bit. Click OK. And there you go. Before, after. You're going to save. Now you may think that the film may look too soft, and in fact, some films it does look very soft. This is Fujicolor 100, so it's a very sharp film, so it looks good as is. But for many films like Fuji Superior Extra, which you can find in CVS's and Walgreens, things like that, which is readily available and relatively cheap, it'll look sort of soft. So you pull down the retouching layer, make a final layer, and call this one sharpening. You do sharpening to taste, though. So we go filter, other, high pass. Now filter, other, high pass, and then radius 2 pixels. So as you see, what this does is it looks at the edges of the picture and makes it look like crap. But to make this not look like crap, go down here to the blending mode right here, and then set it to overlay. And then it's a very subtle effect, but before, after. It makes the image look sharper, but not digital. And that is how I edit raw images. So then I do Control-Alt-Shift-W, which will export, and then I export as a JPEG. And that will let me export as a JPEG. And then of course I name it the same thing, so I can link the two and know which one I'm doing later in case I want to go back and edit and delete the JPEG, and just click save. And that is how I edit film images in Photoshop to go from this to this. I think this looks a lot better than this. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.